You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News.
And so good evening to you, obviously. This is here joining us live on zimai.com. So good evening to you. Here we got breaking news today. Obviously, this is the health minister, the Minister of Health, Obadiah Moyo, has made what do I want to call a groundbreaking announcement. It's an announcement of the first of its kind. There have been people who have been admitted and on the grounds here of manifesting symptoms of coronavirus, and since the early this year. And our viewers with listeners, for the first time now, they are described, no, so that's it, early this month, in Zimbabwe. For the first time right now, the health ministry is describing the victim as, according to their nationality, their ethnicity, and also the country where they came from. The description is unique. It is the first of its kind. Our viewers users, in contrast to the one when a Chinese national died on the 7th of March. That national was called, they called that national a Mutare resident, or a Mutare person, a Mutare national, a Mutare ethnic, someone who is inside Zimbabwe, and someone from within Zimbabwe, who grew up in Zimbabwe, someone who is from an England. When in actual fact, that national was a Chinese, was a foreigner on temporary immigration status, someone who was coming from China. And yet they lied. That was on the 7th of March. Obviously, if you jump on zimai.com, you can see the announcement, when it was done, and when I personally challenged the government. Why? Number one, they were not disclosing that who this person exactly is. This is a Chinese national. You're calling this one person from Mutare. Number two, what did this person die of? That detail was masked. In the latest development of yours with listeners, someone has been found here to be positive, and they have said this person is Zimbabwe's first case of coronavirus. And this person then is suddenly described as someone who is Caucasian, so clearly here European, British, from Manchester, traveling also from Manchester, and then a resident, they call this person. But the thing is, they've been described as someone here who is Caucasian. Our viewers with this is clearly declaring. This is Obadiah Moyo saying Zimbabwe's coronavirus came from Britain. Do you agree with this? Let us hear right now Obadiah saying it. And by the way, there's a poll on Zimai asking you right now to vote and tell us if you agree with what he is saying.
Good evening, Zimbabweans. This evening, Friday the 20th of March 2020, the National Microbiology Reference Laboratory at the Sally Mugabe Central Hospital confirmed that a suspected case of COVID-19 had tested positive. This is the first case of COVID-19 in Zimbabwe. The patient is a 38-year-old Caucasian male resident of Victoria Falls, who had traveled to Manchester, United Kingdom, on the 7th of March 2020 and returned to his home in Victoria Falls on the 15th of March 2020 via South Africa. After arrival, he put himself on self-quarantine at home, as per our advice to all travelers coming from COVID-19 affected countries. On realizing that he was not feeling too well, he contacted his general practitioner by telephone, advising him that he had a persistent cough and sneezing. The general practitioner alerted the local COVID-19 rapid response team of the Ministry of Health and Child Care, who immediately went to assess him and recommended that he continues with self-isolation at home. Specimens were also collected and ferried to the reference laboratory for testing. He continued with self-isolation at home and is showing signs of recovery after supportive management at home. As a result of our preparedness, we managed to identify this first case in a timely fashion and ensure that he was appropriately managed. Our teams are now engaged in contact tracing and are being assisted by the patient
Alright guys,
himself.
thank you very much for watching.
We
If
call
you're new here, please hit the red
the
subscribe
nation to
button.
become
If you enjoy what you
as
do,
we
please
deal
share for your
with
friends.
this first
and
case of
family.
COVID-19
Thank you. Peace out.
in Zimbabwe. In the meantime, let us continue with good personal hygiene. Wash your hands with soap and water frequently, or use an alcohol-based hand rub. Cover your nose and mouth with tissue paper or flex elbow when coughing and sneezing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth.
So there we are, viewers and listeners.
Close contact with people
There we are.
who are sick,
We're hearing him there.
coughing.
He has described Zimbabwe as a so-called first, what he calls here, Zimbabwe's first coronavirus case, positive case. And the patient there, been described as a Caucasian, traveled from Manchester. I describe as a European Caucasian, Caucasian, from Manchester. And also, are we noticing something here? He says we've been monitoring people who are coming from COVID-19 affected countries. He has never mentioned China as a COVID-19 affected country. Anyone heard Obadiah saying so since the beginning of the year? Naming China as a COVID-19 affected nation? If you have seen him, please, maybe perhaps lift your hands or send me the video. Send us the video or the audio. And then I could perhaps know that there is a time or an instance where he has described China. He's never once labeled China a COVID-19 affected country, but he calls UK an affected country. So, tagged with what he says at the beginning, this is the first Zimbabwe's first COVID positive test here. Person who traveled from Manchester, UK. Obadiah Moyo is loudly proclaiming that Zimbabwe's coronavirus came from Britain, not China. Do you agree with this? So the comment box is right below you. If you go on Zimbabwe.com, there's also a poll. This is what vote as well. You know, so that is what is happening right now, viewers, witnesses. Just gonna put it up right now. Okay. So 62% are saying it's totally false. 21% are saying it's true. Yeah, and it's true. But Zimbabwe's COVID-19 yakabva ku UK, right? So we got here 21% are saying it's actually true. 62% are saying it's pure nonsense, false. And then 17% are saying they're confused. What do you say about this? Obviously, just only 66 people have voted so far. Right. Anthony Kamugisha says, was he supposed to mention or list all the corona-affected states? No, he wasn't. But what I'm trying to say here, he is clearly pointing the finger at UK. The UK don't ndimi maunza imimi, ma British ndimi maunza corona imimi. Ma British. You English people are the ones who brought coronavirus to Zimbabwe. That's exactly what he's saying. Tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong anyway, please do feel free, because the whole idea with this engagement that we always do in the news here is to interrogate the news. I don't have the whole truth, but I give you here what I've investigated. Sometimes I could also miss it, but that's why we've got this engagement of viewers, readers, and listeners. So, here we are. What do you say about this? What do you say about this? What did you have? Chance corona ever Britain? Zimbabwe knows what I'm Britain about. Right, Cecilia Lang says a German who was positive was in Victoria Falls, then went to Namibia and tested positive. Yeah. Shumba says you only get tested. Let me see here. You only get tested when you become a suspect case through symptoms. Otherwise, self-quarantine, social distancing is the normal practice. Chichi Gabriela says it doesn't matter where he came from. He might be telling the truth from where the patient came from. China doesn't have new cases. UK doesn't have cases. China has cases too. You're wrong because you're not bringing a solution. We're talking, yes, 7th of March, when the Chinese national who came into Zimbabwe, who had come into Zimbabwe, died. And on that day, Chinese was having new cases. Stop lying, you're not telling the truth there. There were new cases, there have been new cases here happening in China. And on that day, Obadiah Moyo lied through his teeth that this patient was someone from Mutare. And he clearly obfuscated the individual's nationality. Individual is a Chinese and you call the person someone from Mutare. That is totally misleading. This is a foreigner. Right, so here's the truth here. Obadiah Moyo is in a contract, an agreement with China. Mnangagwa is in a contract, an agreement with China. And what Mnangagwa has done here in this administration is to trade with China here in exchange for the 2 or so buildings that they're getting built here. Wilkins Hospital is being built for Zanu-PF. Well, you'd say for Zimbabwe, excuse me. The parliament is also being built for Zimbabwe. But what exactly are we giving? Are we returning to the Chinese here? What's part of the contract is that statistics or...
You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. You are listening to Zimbabwe News.